One's ready. One's ready. Go!
Everybody, welcome back to another edition of the Daily Drop. This is the news from 3 June. If you're new here, this is the news from Public Affairs. They curate it from all kinds of different articles and that kind of stuff and throw it all together for people to preview, typically commanders and chiefs, but I believe it's open to everybody. But anyway, before we hop into that, though, you guys should know that we have one more slot left for the Operator Training Summit happening in San Diego, 21 and 22 June. We're talking running with Taylor Starch, mobility with Taylor Starch. Then we're going to have calisthenics, rucking, academics, that kind of stuff on the first day. The second day, we've got 12 hours in the pool with you with Aaron, Trent, me. We're going to have another active duty PJ who's going to be there that's going to be taking you through the pool to everything from underwaters, mask clearing, mask and snorkel recovery, drown proofing, treading water, finning, buddy breathing. Let's see, I'm sure I'm missing something else, but 12 hours in the pool, all for you. All right, so if you are interested, shoot me an email at jared@onesready.com and we'll get you added to the chat so you can secure your spot. Okay, here is the news. We'll start off with joint news like we usually do. Defense Secretary to testify on FY26 budget. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth will discuss the Trump administration's proposed $1 trillion fiscal year 26 defense budget, including a $900 billion base budget and $150 billion supplemental package before Congress on June 12th. The testimony may also address concerns over non-classified messaging systems used for sensitive information and the administration's push to discharge transgender service members. I have no doubt that that kind of stuff will be brought up. However, what the hell does that have anything to do with the budget? Like, great, we get to watch people grandstand about all this and just talk their political BS. Has nothing to do with the budget. Or maybe we could talk about the millions upon millions of dollars that were used to transform restrooms and locker rooms into unisex or for transgender. Like that, maybe we bring that up too. It's just a thought. Just a thought. All right, next, Defense Secretary praises Germany's defense spending. We kind of hit on this yesterday, except with Australia. So thank you for the folks that corrected me in the chat or in the comments. It is 3.5. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth had encouraged Australia to increase their spending budget on defense up to 3.5% of their GDP. So I had that wrong yesterday. But going back to what we're talking about today, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth commended Germany's increased defense spending, reaching 2% of the GDP, with plans to hit 5%. Dude, that's a massive increase during the Shangri-La dialogue. He urged Indo-Pacific allies to follow Europe's example, particularly NATO nations, in bolstering defense budgets. Yeah, dude, kudos to Germany for increasing their spending budget. They've got some real, like, if you've been paying attention to news, Germany, France, and the UK have got some serious issues with a whole bunch of things going on, specifically tied to immigration, terror attacks, and that kind of stuff. I mean, Liverpool just had something, I think it was last week, maybe it was 2 weeks ago now, and I, like, it's just, I think that guy was actually a prior Royal Marine, if I remember right, but like, look at what just happened in Boulder, Colorado. Like, there's some serious issues going on when we start talking about insider threats and terrorist attacks. So it's a good thing, in my opinion. As long as it's done smartly, because obviously the U.S. and I'm sure other countries have some things that they could probably not spend money on. All right. Pentagon promotes drone innovation. The Defense Innovation Unit's Project GO aims to replicate Ukraine's rapid drone technology advancements by streamlining bureaucracy and fostering continuous drone system development. The initiative seeks to produce prototypes within 24 hours, but faces challenges in reducing reliance on foreign components like actuator magnets. So I see this as being a great thing. We have got to cut through the bureaucratic BS if we really want to acquire things and fix our acquisitions problem, which we do have an acquisition problem. That is insane to think about a prototype produced within 24 hours, though. Like, whoa, that is quick. And it kind of goes back to the when they talk about the reliance on foreign components, that goes with everything, though, right? When we start talking about energy, microchips, steel, medications that aren't developed here in the U.S., they're developed, we've outsourced it to other countries. But we should have learned something during the COVID-19 issues, because where were shortages in so many things that aren't produced here in America, we need to be self-reliant and making actuator magnets, making other things like microprocessors, microchips, and medications and steel and that kind of stuff. We have got to invest in America more. All right, next, proposed budget cuts, CISA workforce. The FY26 budget proposal would reduce the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, that's CISA, workforce by 1,000 positions and cut $500 million, eliminating its election security program. Additional cuts target the FBI, the Energy Department Cybersecurity Office, and the National Science Foundation, raising concerns about national security. Man, when you start thinking about the amount, just the volume of cyber attacks that happen on a daily basis, that is concerning, because I can tell you from an organization on Nellis Air Force Base that, has 1,000 people in it. We've lost, I think we've lost between 6 and 7 people, government civilians, and then there's probably around 20 vacancies. And I'll tell you what, we feel those 20 vacancies. And the fact that we can't hire anybody right now is problematic. It's tough out there. So imagine losing not just $500 million, but 1,000 positions. That is concerning for sure. All right, moving on to the Air Force news. The Air Force struggles with AI adoption. Air Force Chief of Staff David Alvin described AI adoption as inconsistent due to bureaucratic resistance, 100% agree, despite its potential to enhance decision-making and maintenance. Current initiatives include the Collaborative Combat Aircraft Program and Project Venom, but institutional adaptation may be a challenge. Yeah, kind of like that bell curve when you start talking about early adopters, frozen middle, late adopters, and that kind of stuff. That falls into the AI thing with the military. Also, we've kind of talked about it before, and I'm no AI expert, right? But I have talked to some of the AI experts, and one of the issues that we're dealing with in terms of AI adoption within the DoD is, one, you got a bunch of old heads that just don't understand it, don't even understand how to use it. They're like, they won't even like you guys know this. We utilize the hell out of ChatGPT, Grok, and that kind of stuff, but we do it to have efficiencies and to save time and that kind of stuff, right? Because if I had to write out a description for every single one of these, it would take me forever. Not just one of these, any of our episodes. So we use that for efficiencies. I use it to write reports. I use it to rewrite emails that are kind of convoluted and confusing to make them, more understandable, right? So that's how I use it. And there's many other uses for it, right? But you get some old heads that definitely don't want to use it, and they're scared of it and that kind of stuff. But so you have that part of it. The other part of it is things like Grok, Copilot, ChatGPT have billions upon billions, if not trillions, of data points that they get to scrub and use. Whereas on the classified network, we have tens of thousands of data points to use. We don't have that huge, large language model to use on the classified network. So it's not going to work as well as Grok, ChatGPT, or anything like that. So I don't know. Anyway, Ohio and AFRL, Air Force Research Laboratory, strengthen partnership. Ohio Governor Mike DeWine and Air Force Research Laboratory Commander Brigadier General Jason Bartholomew signed an agreement to share knowledge and technology, fostering economic development. The partnership leverages Wright-Patterson Air Force Base's expertise to drive innovation and growth in Ohio. If you guys are not tracking what Air Force Research Laboratory is, it is a fantastic organization that is designing and has designed some incredible pieces of tech and software. Like, they are some big ass brains over there, and they are just fun to work with, kind of like DARPA. They're fun to work with, fun to be around. Total nerds, but they're great nerds. They're great Americans that want to succeed and want, the end users to succeed. So I have always enjoyed working with them. AFRL, again, Commander highlights drone warfare. The Air Force Research Laboratory commander noted that Ukraine's drone strikes, like Operation Spiderweb, signal a future dominated by drone warfare. Ohio's investment in drone technology positions it well for this shift, with AFRL focusing on advancing these capabilities. Rock on. Air Mobility Command adopts AI for threat detection. Air Mobility Command will deploy a commercial AI platform to monitor real-time threats, such as small drones at military bases, following a recent contract awarded by AFWERX, AFWERX, in case you wanted to Google that. The technology aims to enhance base security by tracking drone incursions like those seen at Vandenberg Space Force Base. Air Force Academy Dean retires amid faculty cuts. The Air Force Academy Dean of Faculty, Brigadier General Lindell Lettendry, retired as the Academy faces planned cuts of about 100 civilian faculty members. Remember what I talked about in terms of just our 1,000-person organization missing about 20 people? They're looking at 100 civilian members. Like, that's such a massive hit. The cuts announced by Superintendent Lieutenant General Tony Bauerfein are under review, raising concerns about their impact on education quality. There's been concern about that for a while, especially after some of my 04 majors and 05 lieutenant colonels and 06 colonels have visited. They are, I don't want to say disappointed, but they're concerned about the level of education that's happening there. 7 promotion rates increase. The Air Force promoted 23.42% of the eligible tech sergeants to master sergeant in the 2025 E7 cycle, selecting 6,043 candidates. This marks an increase of about 500 promotions compared to the 2024 cycle at 18.65% selection rate. So, first off, congratulations to all the brand new or selected master sergeants. Like, great job. Super happy for you. Enjoy it. Now, don't do anything stupid to get redlined. And if you're not tracking where the red line is, and the way promotion systems work in the Air Force is, unless you've been at the rank of tech sergeant for a very long time, what you're given when you're promoted is a line number. So in this case, it would be 1 through 6,043. And they promote you in increments. I don't know why. I don't like it. I wish, hey, you make it, you sew it on immediately. But they promote you in increments. So let's just say they do 1,500 people. Actually, it's probably more like 500 to 700 people a month starting this month in June. And then in July, they'll promote. So let's just say June, they'll promote 1 through 700. Then in July, they'll promote 701 through 1401 or 1400, right? And they'll just keep doing that until they get to all others at the end of the year. What redlining means is that if you get in trouble while you're waiting to sew on, you potentially get that stripe taken away and you'll remain a tech sergeant. So keep your nose clean. All right, Space Force news. Force demonstrates rapid GPS-3 launch. The recent GPS-3F satellite launch from Cape Canaveral showcases the Space Force's ability to execute rapid, tactically responsive space missions. The mission, prepared on a shortened timeline, highlights the resilience and readiness to address urgent on-orbit needs. Next, the environmental study for Vandenberg launch program. The Air Force is conducting an environmental impact study for proposed changes to the Falcon launch program at Vandenberg Space Force Base, including redeveloping Space Launch Complex 6 and increasing launch frequency. Public hearings and comment submissions are scheduled to gather community input. All right, that's it from space news. These are of interest. DoD test enterprise cuts raise concerns. Proposed funding cuts to the Office of Director of Operational Test and Evaluation could reduce independent oversight, risking the deployment of untested systems. Critics warn that an 80% manpower reduction may undermine the agency's mission, particularly for initiatives like the Golden Dome missile defense. You bet any kind of cuts like that are definitely going to put it at risk. That's up to the commander and the commander-in-chief on what risks and what level of risk we're willing to accept. That's why commanders get paid the money that they do, because they get to accept that risk. Efforts to preserve fighter squadrons. Proposed cuts to Air National Guard fighter squadrons include Colorado's 140th Wing, could leave parts of the U.S. without air defense coverage. Legislation reintroduced by Representatives Jason Crow and Don Bacon aims to maintain squadron numbers and ensure one-to-one fighter recapitalization. I don't even know what aircraft are assigned to the 140th Wing. So I can't speak to that. And then not just what type of aircraft, but then how many aircraft. So next, push for KC-46 tankers in Mississippi. Senator Roger Wicker is advocating for Mississippi's 186th Air Refueling Wing to receive KC-46 tankers, citing Meriden's air refueling history. Wicker also supports the Golden Dome Missile Defense Initiative to counter ballistic missile threats. That's such a random topic in that. Okay, cool. Glad you support it, man. All right, next. Commercial space imagery budget cuts. Proposed reductions in funding for commercial satellite imagery threaten the U.S. remote sensing industry's financial stability. Industry experts warn that these cuts could undermine private investment and Defense Department's reliance on commercial providers. All right, this is the last one. Space Command headquarters location debate. Oh, we've talked about this several times. A Colorado Accountability Office, a Government Accountability Office, GAO, report found no compelling reason to move the U.S. Space Command headquarters from Colorado Springs to Alabama, according to Representative Jeff Crank. Crank argues that relocating would disrupt qualified staff and incur unnecessary costs without clear military benefits. 100% agree on that. Not just the cost of moving them, like what do we gain from it, but also all the people that you've got to move, right? All those people you got to PCS. How about the civilians that are like, you know what? I live here. I've lived here for 20 years. I've been working for the Space Command and now Space Force. Or, you know what I'm talking about. And they're like, nah, dude, I'm good. I don't want to leave. I don't want to move from Colorado to Alabama. Not that there's anything wrong with Alabama. I'm just saying, they're going to lose a lot of civilians. And a lot of those civilians are critical to the success of Space Force's headquarters. So, all right. You guys have a good one. Thanks for joining. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. If you are interested in the Operator Training Summit in San Diego, 21-22 June, hit us up. Later.